Hi friends! This is DaintyTank. Thank you for joining me. Welcome back to Fatal 12. This is part 6 of our journey. I hope you're having fun and you're following along. It's quite the drama. I was not expecting all of this. I have to say, fantastic job to the development team who did this game, because I was not expecting half of the drama that's kind of built up. Also, Rinka is the most oblivious person on the planet. Beyond that, let's get started. Continue! One transfer. Oh yeah, because Naomi went with Rinka to a place that's not the Lion Cafe, which is a dangerous thing, to go somewhere else, out in the open. Okay. One transfer from Shinjuku to the metro line, and 2 stops later, you'll find this park. There's an entrance fee, but it's fairly inexpensive. It's one of the biggest parks in Tokyo, and was apparently an old samurai's garden back in the day. I think we mentioned this before. I'm not sure why, but it was restructured to resemble a mix between Japanese, English, and French parks. There are normally tourists all over the place, but it's a lot less busy on weekdays. That makes it ideal for a change of pace. I come here a lot when I was a kid. There's one place in particular I really enjoyed visiting. Is this where you wanted to come? It's nice, isn't it? There's a small bench in the middle of the garden. We sit down there, taking in the surroundings and the clock tower-esque building in the distance. Few buildings in Shinjuku stand out as much as that one. Part of me wants to say it's the building for a telephone company. The sound of the greenery whispering in the wind is nice and relaxing. Huh? An odd sensation washes over me out of nowhere. Makes me wonder whether or not I've actually been here before. But I'm sure of it. I know I've been here plenty of times as a kid. Rinka? No, sorry, I'm fine. Take a deep breath and get ready to tell her about the vine selection. Why? Why? So, where do I begin? I guess it doesn't matter when. It'll all sound like I'm making it all up anyway. Why? Danger. Rinka. She utters my name in a painful manner once I finish telling her everything. Started to get teary-eyed midway, but I kept going. I doubt she would want me to stop without painting her the whole picture. She nodded attentively from beginning to end, as if to reassure me that the decision to tell her was the right one. I knew something was weird all along. You were speaking fluent English despite not knowing the language at all. When we first talked about that book, everything started ever since then. But you are alive, Rinka. I can tell you that much as a fact. Saying that, she takes my hand in hers. The surface of her hand is cool, but I can feel her warmth underneath. There's no doubt the same goes for me. That warmth serves as proof that I'm alive. Yeah, I know, but well, it seems like that shouldn't be the case. I'm sorry for saying what I did without understanding the situation you're in. Not like I would expect you to, considering I never mentioned it, and it's kind of a traumatic thing to think about the fact that you watched your friend burn. She doesn't doubt what I have to say for a second. Chances are that my cause of death lines up with her dream, so much that she has no choice but to believe it. Gives her an answer as to why she's having that dream too, although it does nothing to resolve the situation at hand. Not only are you in this situation, but Maharu is as well. I wasn't sure whether or not to tell her about Maharu, but I decided to do so in the end. On the other hand, there's no point in trying to keep certain things to myself. On the other, I simply gave in to my desire to lighten my own burden. What's more, she said she's prepared? She's She's referring to Maharu's statement regarding her own participation. That she's willing to give her life for mine. I wouldn't be able to say the same if I were in her shoes. Same here. I don't I don't want Maharu to die, but I don't have it in me to willingly let her make it through, though, either. 2 weeks have passed now, and I'm not sure what I should do. I don't think you can be blamed for that. Another breeze blows through, catching her hair. Surprisingly cold breeze for this time of year. See the sunset off in the distance. The mixture of blue and orange on the horizon somehow resembles a wavering heart to me. Maharu is very strong-hearted, isn't she? Yeah, she is. I have no idea how much. She's the complete opposite of me. This is Rinka actually talking about how she views herself for once? She knows exactly what she wants to do, whereas I'm sitting here unable to make any sort of decision. Oh. She might have already gotten started on gathering info based on the cards she's received. In fact, I'm certain she has. Determination in her eyes makes it apparent. Her attitude at school isn't any different from usual, but that's just further proof of her resolve. There's no doubt she's doing as much research as she can elsewhere. And she's doing it all for my sake. I'd say that all the time she's been spending at work lately was just a front for said research, but that'd be overthinking things. It's something she's been doing for a while now. Thanks for hearing me out, Naomi. I feel a bit better having talked to someone about this. I still don't know how to approach this whole situation, but for now, I'll just focus on going about life as usual for a bit longer. Saying that, I get off the bench. We all done here. Or I try to, but Naomi stops me by grabbing my sleeve. You guys and grabbing sleeves. I mean, given her sleeve is not, like, her jacket is not on her shoulder, so grabbing her sleeve is kind of an easy thing. But what's with all of these, like, Yuri grab sleeve, don't leave me for Rinka here? Can you wait for 5 more minutes? I've come to a personal conclusion myself. Personal conclusion? She nods firmly in response. Oh my god, is this it? Oh, no, it's really cute. Okay. I want to help you, Rinka. Things can't continue like this. It may be somewhat selfish of me to say when I'm not in your shoes, but you need to face reality. You can't keep running from it. Running from what? It's not that I'm struggling to make a choice. I'm simply avoiding it altogether. Naomi makes sure to be as frank as possible with her words. And they turn my entire world upside down. The reality that I've been running from, my responsibility to choose whether I'll live or die, finally sinks in. Before I know it, this guy has been dyed entirely in orange. At the very least. Oh no! Click. I can help you gather information. I'll even be able to meet those other participants face to face, since they don't know who I am. Most importantly, though, I can help share the burden you've been pressured with. Naomi. Her words are filled to bursting with resolve. There's nothing we can do to change the fact that it would come down to either you or Maharu making it through. But if you continue like this, things may end even before that. Hey Naomi, there's something I've just realized myself. She turns to me, waiting for my follow-up comment. Having the truth put in front of me like that makes me realize what I'm most afraid of. I'm terrified of what I have to do to make it through this. Not only Maharu, but also have to eliminate others to ensure my own survival. Is my life even worth casting aside the lives of others for? I'm not too sure about that. I mean, I don't even know my own regret. I've seen the expressions of those who were mere moments away from being elected. I wouldn't describe them as sad, angry, or even anticipated. They simply looked powerless in the face of what was about to happen. Those are the faces of people who died without being able to fulfill what they wanted out of life. Meanwhile, I'm not sure if I have that much invested into anything to begin with. That's why part of me feels like my life isn't worth being saved in exchange for theirs. Is it not enough that people like myself and Maharu want you to live? I can say for sure whether or not eliminating others for your own sake is the right thing to do. What I can say though is that I don't want you to die, no matter what. If the idea of committing that sin scares you, then at the very least, share half of that responsibility with me. Naomi? I would think that might be Rinka. Naomi, why would you go this far? Why would you go this far for my sake? Before everything was undone, you chose to prioritize my life over your own. That's the kind of person you are. But that's irrelevant now. Oh yeah, she did kind of jump in front of you to save you, but that's okay. I'm willing to go this far because it's for you, Rinka. That's all there is to it. Also, if she does die, then the fire actually happened. Oh, how complex is that? Sorry, I just had a brain blast. If the other foreigner is... If that foreigner, I think number 6 or something, is the kid with the explosive on the train, how does one die but the other don't? If Rinka survives and the other foreigner doesn't. Or vice versa. Because the fire has to break out. It's a direct consequence death. Which is very interesting. How does that work? Anyways. But if she does die, then Naomi gets severely burnt in trauma from watching her friend die. Naomi's kind of got a stake in this. I was all against having her involved, but she really was the boot up Rinka's butt to get her to move. Whew. Huh? That's weird. Why do I want to cry now? Oh, no, my love. Turns your gaze towards the sky, desperately trying to fight back the tears that are ready to fall at any moment. It's a weird time to have a thought like this, but I can't help but consider just how vast the sky truly is. Naomi has nothing but praise for the coffee I make. She's made me realize that I am avoiding reality. That and a number of other important things. Oh? Promise me you won't do anything dangerous. Huh? The tears have started to stream down her face by the time I say that. I can't die from anything other than elimination during divine selection, but the same doesn't apply to you. Promise me that you won't do anything that'll put you at risk. Unable to get the words out, she bites her lower lip and nods her head. That being said, allow me to formally ask you, Naomi, will you please help me get through divine selection? There's no need to be so formal. Extend my right hand to her, which she takes. Her nervousness melts away with the beaming smile she gives me afterwards. Her tear-stained cheeks serve as the nice contrast to that. You ready for... you really are a crybaby, aren't you? And you could do with learning when it's okay to cry. No need to tease me. Her tears don't stop flowing, even though she's all smiles. Just then the announcement comes that it's almost time for the park to close for the day. Take the opportunity to tell Naomi that I'll see her tomorrow, and then I make my way home. Okay. Linehouse. When I get back, I open up Linehouse for a bit. I've been messaging Naomi during break time. Decided to keep the store closed tomorrow so we can focus on gathering intel and organizing our thoughts. I figure hitting up the library will be a good idea, since we have access to newspapers and the like, but considering I still don't know where to start, decided it's best for us to meet up there first. We don't need to worry about keeping quiet there, at least. I also make sure to ask Naomi not to tell anyone else about this. Part of me considers telling Mao at first, since we are close friends, but considering she's known Miharu for far longer than Naomi, I decided it's best not to. Okay. She's already, like, coaxing Miharu to, like, open up to you. And also, this is just going to cause more friction with you and Miharu, because Miharu really wants you. It'd be far too much of a burden for her to bear. The last thing I want is to ruin the friendship the three of us have right now. Pew. Who says pew? Thinking back on everything that's happened so far, I get ready to close shop for the day. Barely any customers have come around, so I only have to clean up a few things. I clean up those things, carry in the signboard and some plants from outside, and put out the trash. Door looks a little bit dirty too, so I make sure to wipe it down. While I'm wiping it, I hear footsteps heading my way. Don't pay them much mind, considering it's rare for people to pass by at this time of night, but they stop right in front of the store. Sorry, but we're closed for the... Thinking it was a customer, I turn around to inform them that we're closed. I stop mid-sentence when I see a woman to whom the footsteps belong. Then when I stand up straight, she grabs me by the shoulders, pushes me against the door, and then into the store. What just happened? So you're Shishamai Rinka? Her words come out loud and rapid. Her voice sounds like her throat is ready to explode. First impression makes her seem desperate, but I'd say she's more anxious than anything else. That's why her shouting actually helps me to approach the situation with heightened exposure. You're number... Oh... You're number 8, I take it. Rather than answering a question, I opt to shoot one right back at her. I don't know her name, but I recognize the face. She's one of the people I've seen in the dream world. Composed as I may seem, it's not enough to keep my nerves calm. I can feel myself working up a sweat. Even the most minor thing here could act as a hint for her, so I need to watch what I say. Answer me! Slams her hand against the door, closing the distance between us even more. And yet, I'm not afraid. Mainly because I keep in my mind why she's so anxious in the first place. The only reason she's asking me is because she's not entirely sure that I am who she thinks I am. Meanwhile, number 12 gained her name card from the woman he eliminated during the first round, if memory serves. Answer me. I've got your card, so I know you're... She's my Rinka. Okay. I don't doubt that I'd be panicking if this was number 11 or 12 asking. Odette or Mystery Man. Bill was his name? But it's the same dread I feel from competing with people like them that allows me to remain calm here and now. Compared to them, she looks like an average woman, slender and pretty. Although you can tell she looks overtired. It's no doubt she's been getting a little sleep. She's wearing what I believe is a shawl atop a hospital gown. Tell me, what's your cause of death? What's your regret? My silence makes her all the more agitated. Was it suicide? An illness? School? Love? Answer me! You need to calm down. My patience starts to wear thin, which causes me to place my hands on her shoulders and shove her away from me. I must have pushed a little hard since she stumbles backwards. She falls and lands on the hard concrete. Oh, sorry. Herc! I apologize without thinking. Showing sympathy to other participants, my enemies in other words, probably isn't the best idea. Are you okay? I ask, but receive no answer. All she does is stare down at the ground and mutter something to herself. Following that, she collapses under her own weight. Whoa, hey, are you alright? I need to call an ambulance. Nope, I'm fine, so don't call an ambulance. I can get back myself. Fine is the last thing that comes to mind when... Fine is the last thing that comes to mind when I look at you. Just don't. Sense trails off from there. Judging by her steady breathing, she seems to have fallen asleep as opposed to having passed out. I spot the name of the hospital she's admitted to written on the hem of her gown. It's only a 10-minute walk from here. Ugh, fine. She doesn't want to get in an ambulance for whatever reason. I can't just leave her here. Fortunately, she's rather light, so I opt to give her a piggyback ride. This is tougher than I thought it'd be. But on the flip side, you could probably look up who she is now. After I lock the store up, I proceed to the hospital. When I arrive, the nurse I speak to showers me with praise. It's hardly surprising. I think most people would praise a high schooler who obviously exhausted herself by carrying a patient all the way to the hospital in the middle of the night. Nurse wastes no time in taking her away, so I guess she really is a patient here. Thanks to this, I managed to learn her name as well. Kamabuchi Kikyo. Again, I apologize if I butcher any of these names. Well, she's always had a frail disposition. Things have gotten worse for her once she gave birth. Oh, I don't pry any deeper, but I doubt they would have told me much more. The only reason they told me as much as they did is to make sure I knew who it was that I helped out in the first place. Actually, shouldn't that give me a name card? First, I mentioned that we obtained name cards whenever we discovered vital information in the real world. Oh, right, I need the book. Chances are that I didn't get one because I don't have it with me. I'm aware of its importance, but I tend to leave it behind since it's heavy. Either way, I should leave considering visiting hours have long passed. Curious as I am about Keiko, I make my way back home. But now you have a place to jump off of. Once I return to my room and get ready for bed, I take a seat at the table on which my book rests. Oh, this is new. Little bits of light are pouring out from between the book's pages. Needless to say, this is the first time I've seen this happen. In the real world, no less. I take a moment to prepare myself and then I open it up. Whoa. The moment I do, the light begins to pour out above the book itself. What's going on? All I could do is watch it eventually congregates into one spot, almost 2 feet above my table. Eventually molds itself into a rectangular shape. Well, to be more specific, the shape of a card. Once transformation is complete, the light dissipates. The card floats in midair for a brief moment before it quietly lays itself to rest atop the book. So this is how new cards are made. I can't hide my surprise over witnessing something like that happening in the real world. Something similar happened in the dream world, but it's a whole different experience when it happens in your own room. Okay, pick up the newly formed card. It's exactly the same as the others I have in terms of shape and make. The only difference is the content written on it. Name: Kamabuchi Kikyo. As expected, it's Kikyo's name card. That's all though. Still don't know her cause of death or regret. You have some stuff. She was hospitalized after giving birth, right? In that case, has to be related to that. First ailment that comes to mind from childbirth is... Ouch. My heart starts to hurt all of a sudden. It doesn't take long for me to realize why either. It's because I just remembered how desperate Kikyo looked. The way she was acting earlier proved that her regret ran deeper than I could comprehend. What I'm doing right now is akin to walking all over that. The more I try to imagine the circumstances of her death, the worse the pounding in my head becomes. That's when I remember Naomi's proposition to shoulder the burden along with me. I'm not prepared to handle this alone quite yet. Today's done a good job of showing me just how weak I am. Rather than thinking about this anymore, I turn my light off and choose to sleep instead. I choose sleep. Meanwhile, yo, Rini. Morning, Mal. I noticed Maharu getting ready for classes as usual when I arrive at school. Seeing her reminds me of the realization that came to yesterday, which prompts me to say something odd to Mao. Maharu really is strong-hearted, isn't she? You think? I'd say it's the opposite. Her voice and tone are lower than usual. Huh? Anyway, let's get back to the daily grind and forget about the fact that I'm talking about how I know her deepest, darkest secrets. She returns to her usual self right away, almost as if to avoid continuing on with that topic. Once school has ended, I meet up with Naomi before heading over to the library on our way back to Lion House. Fortunately, the library is only 5 minutes from Lion House, and so on the very same path I took to get to the hospital last night. Make sure to fill her in on what happened last night, so we make our way there. Her first reaction is to express her concern about me. She crinkles her nose when I mention that Keiko seems to have had a rougher go at life than I have, but then sighs in relief afterwards. Once I'm at the library, we gather up some books regarding pregnancy. Part of me doesn't want to at first, since we'll be painting a rather dubious image of ourselves. Then again, this isn't the time to be worried about that. Having gotten what we needed, we make our way back to Lion House and spread the books out on one of the tables. Alright, let's see whether or not these have any information regarding illnesses and complications that have been linked to her cause of death. Oh man. Right. She announces the plan with seemingly little issue. You should have the book right beside you, so you should be able to just, like, say this and then look at the book. That would be good. That would be, like, really good. Do what Odette did. Of course, you don't know that yet. I can tell she's forcing herself to act composed. Normal people like this shouldn't have any reason to investigate someone's death like this. It doesn't help that it feels like we're digging into someone's private life without consent. That's one of the reasons behind my headache last night. Not to mention that, in this case, it's about someone who's still alive. Pick up one of the books closest to me. While thinner than the card book, it's packed full of text. I probably shouldn't try my hand at a book like this when I know absolutely nothing about medicine. Thinking that, I pick up another one, only to reach the same conclusion. The only stuff I read other than manga are novels, so ideally, that'll be something a bit simpler among all these. As I think this over, it leads me to repeating the same scenario over and over in my mind. I kind of missed this. Going back, hold on. Okay, manga is great. I love reading manga myself, but novels are kind of a big deal. So you should be able to read something like this. I know it's a little bit denser, but... Okay. Rinka? What's wrong? Are you, not well versed when it comes to books? She's using the book in her hands to obscure her face from below her eyes, which are glued to me. Not really, but, I mean, aren't these a bit too difficult? You should have said so when we were at the library. I could have picked out some simpler ones. Makes it pretty clear that I left Naomi in charge of picking out the books to get. I figured that'd be best, considering she's a bit of a bookworm. Taking you're not big on studying then. I nod my head after a brief hesitation. I wouldn't say I'm bad at studying, but there's no point in putting up a front, especially when my grades tell a different story. Oh man. I'll give it a shot though. I can't let you do all the work for my sake. I pick up another book and peruse the table of contents. Naomi hides part of her face behind her book again, but I can see how focused her eyes are on its contents. Two hours later, I feel my concentration vanish into thin air. I'm surprised it lasted 2 hours. Let's take a break. Oh, Naomi? Eep, what is it? Dang, your concentration level is off the charts. How about we take a quick break? Oh, that sounds like a good idea. She closes her book after I make my offer. I guess she's finished reading that one too, which makes for a total of 3 so far. What? Naomi's off the charts. Oh, she just said off the charts. Yeah, that's fine. Meanwhile, I'm still stumbling through the first. The difference in reading speeds between someone who reads often and someone doesn't is rather striking. I blew up some coffee. Just boom! Coffee everywhere, rain from the sky. I blew up some. Oh my god, I did it again. Coffee bomb. I brew up some coffee for the both of us and bring it over to our table. Beware, mildly explosive. Thank you very much. I feel like this is the first time in a while that I've gotten to have some of your coffee. Didn't you have it just like 2 days ago? You might be right. Spent so much time teaching her how to make coffee that I actually haven't had much opportunity to make some for her or myself. It's always nice watching Naomi drink the coffee I make, considering how much she seems to enjoy it. So, managed to find anything worthwhile? I picked up on something myself, in truth. But asking for Naomi's input first seems like the best idea. I did. First of all, it turns out that there's an extremely low mortality rate for women during childbirth. Maybe in Japan. The book I've been reading says the same thing. Based on the study from 2014, 3 out of 10,000 mothers died while giving birth. I assume Keiko is in their 20s or 30s. Even if it's the latter, there's only a 0.003% chance of it happening to her. For comparison's sake, a person's much more likely to be involved in some sort of fatal traffic accident than that. This stuff actually caught my attention when reading because it was more relevant to me at some point in my future. Seems like Naomi read about the same study. You'd think we were revising test materials together or something. Doesn't the fact that there are so few cases make it easier for us to determine the cause, though? I thought the same myself, but how much information do we need to be able to turn it into a card to begin with? The cards I have that detail causes of death say stuff like fire, so I assume you just need the general idea. See, you mentioned that the process involves giving thoughts of tangible form, didn't you? Yep, but it's not like I know how it actually works. In that case, it's likely that you need to believe in your thoughts for them to be considered for a tangible form. Now the conversation's getting a bit complicated. I take a moment to mentally sort out all that info. The process behind making new cards involves giving information, thoughts rather, a tangible form. Parsa mentioned that much herself. How does one distinguish which piece of information is correct and then turn that into a card then? Sorry, I should have explained it in simpler terms. Basically, I'm curious about the circumstances around which a card is created. For example, would one be made if you happen to correctly guess a cause of death or regret while having a casual conversation with someone? Or do you need to state details loud and clear with certainty, like one would when presenting evidence in a legal trial? Oh, now I get what you mean. Guess my mind back to these past 2 weeks. I'm not the most chatty person, but I've definitely had a good number of conversations during that time. Chances are good that I've discussed things related to relevant information, so by that logic, I should have some extra cards already. If you're close to you might not need to be close to the book. Actually, you might not need to be close to the book. And yet yesterday was the first time I obtained a new card. In that case, it's probably the latter scenario that's required in order to make new cards. I feel it's the matter myself. If the former were the case, one would likely read through an entire dictionary and hit upon everyone's cause of death and regret. That doesn't sound very thrilling. I'm sure people will resort to such a method when they know their lives are on the line. That serves to remind me about how desperate Keiko looked. I could tell she had a specific force driving her. Knowing that, chances are high that she'd read through all kinds of stuff, if it meant possibly obtaining more cards. It's the same reason behind why you can't obtain a card detailing your own cause of death, I believe. We need something more concrete than your hazy memory and my dream. So in the end, it's all up to me remembering the exact details of what happened that day. Can't see myself doing that today, at least. The fact that it's yet to come back to me probably means I need something specific to trigger my memories. I push those thoughts away and Naomi back to the topic at hand. This is my personal conjecture, but it seems that blood loss is the most common cause of death during pregnancy, meaning the same would apply to Keiko. Knowing that's not enough, though, is it? I need to understand the precise details that led to the occurrence in the first place. The lack of any new card materializing proves that. So, you have the book beside you? Is that it? Books alone probably won't give us all the answers then. How about I pay her a visit? Then again, I'd probably get kicked out first. I'm well aware of how much my hair causes me to stand out. Oh. What is it? I said we should take a break, but it hardly counts as one, huh? I think I handed it to you. You're really reliable when it counts. Glad to hear it. I say that, but I can tell she's pushing herself pretty hard. It's clear from the way she's speaking that she's more nervous than usual. Oh? Same goes for me as well. There's no way we could have a happy chat about someone's possible cause of death. However, I'm not getting a headache like when we tried to do this on my own. Her being able to shoulder part of the burden really does make things easier to bear. Now the issue is how we go about digging deeper. Oh, I forgot that I brought some sweets with me. I didn't make these myself though. Saying that, she produces some chocolate, which I happily partake of. Sweet sensation that spreads throughout my body is almost enough to make me shiver with joy. I really can't bear a good dose of... You really can't beat a good dose of sugar. They do say that's good for your brain. My mom always brings me home when I'm studying. What is it? I just realized a simple solution. If we want accurate info, then I should go and speak with her family. Oh! Isn't that a bit dangerous? Risky, sure, but there's a lower chance of me being caught than you. I'll make sure to go in plain clothes, since you carried Keiko to the hospital in your school uniform. Wouldn't she have asked them to not reveal anything about her? I'm fairly certain an adult like her would have reservations about bringing up the dream world to others. If anything, she'd advise them to keep quiet without giving any specifics. She has a point. I have no issue telling her anything, but there's no way I'd tell one of our teachers, for example. It's probably be fine with telling my gran, but definitely not my parents, if they were around. That goes double if I were Kikyo's age. I promise I won't do anything too dangerous, so please, leave this to me. I'm more worried about your acting skills. Please don't be so blunt. She once again tucks her face behind her book and then pops part of it back out to speak to me after a moment. I'll do my best though, especially when it's for your sake. You really are reliable, aren't you? As for when I should go, I'd say the weekend is my best bet. How so? Her family is likely to visit at night during the week. In fact, they might not even be able to visit at all if it gets too late. Meanwhile, her husband at the very least should be stopping by during the weekend. Best off doing this as soon as possible, so I'll aim for this Saturday. Oh! Got it. I'm coming with you, though. I'll hide somewhere nearby so you can scream if anything happens, and I'll come get you. She nods her head in response, understanding that I won't back down. We try to discuss other possibilities regarding her death after that, but basically turns into a study session about pregnancy. Alright, well, that's a good place to stop it. With that, subscribe so you can learn more about study sessions with pregnancy. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you're enjoying this whole series. I hope you're having fun. I think this is great, and I am glad that, they have reasons behind everything. It makes more sense as you go through, and it's so intriguing. It's basically like a mystery box. So, with that, I love you all, and I will see you next time. Bye!